Check out this 24K 360 photo. Now compare it to the Insta360 X5, the DJI OSMO 360, and the professional Canon R5 Mark II with the brand new RF fisheye lens, all shooting the exact same room. If you are selling a property worth several $1 million, do you show your buyer this virtual tool or this one? In this independent review, I will show you what this mystery camera can do and why you should or should not upgrade. If you are still shooting high-end listing on a consumer 360 camera like this one right here, you are losing client to someone who is not. Let me show you what they use and how they do more listing in less time. So, this is the Realsee Galois P4 3D laser scanner. And it's not just a 360 camera, it's an all-in-one virtual tool robot. One tap on the back of the camera and it scans the entire 360 environment without needing a phone. Out comes a 24K 360 panorama, a high-density point cloud, a 3D dollhouse, and a floor plan with accurate measurements. All the professional assets a standard virtual tool would need without manual recreation. It is the latest upgrade from the Realsee Galois M2, which is reviewed right here. Realsee is a Matterport alternative, and with the P4, I will go even further. This is now a Leica BLK260 laser scanner alternative. And now you can even use it on a movie set. In my older review, you already saw Galois M2 completely destroy the Matterport in terms of image quality, and Matterport is getting even more greedy this day. Back in May 2025, right after the CoStar acquisition, they raised their subscription price again in the name of AI. In a declined commercial realistic market, this is just not okay. So if you already made the switch to Realsee, the real question is this: what does upgrading from the M2 to the M4 actually buy you? Let's take a closer look. The key differences are scanning range, scanning speed, LiDAR accuracy, and the resolution of the final 360 photo. For a virtual tool camera, image quality matters most. On the left, we have the P4, and on the right, we have the M2. Punching on a focal chart 10 feet away at 300% or 3x zoom, and they look mostly the same. The P4 has slightly better color accuracy and less noise thanks to its new multi-spectrum HDR technology. But punching on something far in the distance, and now the gap show up. This is the P4 8x lawless zoom and 300 megapixel panorama at work, like more than double the pixel of the M2 and the Matterport Pro3, both only at 134 megapixel. Look at the pine on the side of the house. In the M2 result, it is completely gone. That is a big deal if you do site surveys. Any contractor or AEC pro know exactly what I mean. With its new 100-meter LiDAR range, up from 25 meter only on the M2 and finally matching the Matterport Pro3, the P4 now can cover the same space in fewer scan position or capture large outdoor locations that were never possible before. It also put a far denser point cloud around 125,000 points per second against only 18,000 on the M2 and 100,000 on the Pro3. The P4 is really aiming at commercial real estate, where size and accuracy both matter. Its sub 10mm accuracy is about twice as precise as the M2 and Pro3. But I have to call it out, it is still less accurate than the Leica BLK360 G2, which hits only 4mm at 10 meters. Scanning speed is another big decision factor for virtual tool capture, and it seems to be the only advantage a one-shot 360 camera like the Insta360 X5 right here has, besides the price. Most of the time, you need to move fast and cover a large number of properties. You are paying the operator by the hours, and labor costs more than the camera cost will ever will. Here is the side-by-side capture speed comparison. The Galois P4 takes 18 seconds to finish a full scan, not 16 seconds like the spec sheet or some other influencer claim, but it's still really fast. The Galois M2 takes 31 seconds on the latest firmware, almost double the time span per point. Now, most people will assume a one-shot 360 camera like the Insta360 X5 right here will be faster. It is not. It took the X5 almost 55 seconds to finish a 7-bracket HDR capture, more than 3 times longer than the Galois P4. And the DSLR is fully manual, so it makes sense it took the longest, over a minute per location. So if time is money, then the Galois P4 will save you a lot of money. But hold on, not quite. This is an independent review, so I'm not going to just tell you what the spec sheet said. The Galois P4 actually has 2 capture modes, standard and high quality. Let's do a quick comparison. The high quality mode has less digital noise and fewer aliasing artifacts. And if you zoom into distant detail, high quality holds more detail than the standard mode. Well, since you spend thousands on a professional camera, you will want the highest quality mode to squeeze out every bit of detail. So high quality should be the only mode you use. But here is the catch. You cannot enable high quality mode from the touchscreen or from that heavy advertised blind capture mode. You have to turn it on by tapping the gear icon in the mobile app and set it to high quality like so. It is not on by default. So even though the Galois P4 can be operated without connecting to a phone, we do not recommend that workflow. It is not worth sacrificing quality for convenience. Not to mention the capture mistake you will make without reviewing each scan.
Kimchi's butt's in front.
Coming back later to rescan and at missing point will always cost you more than doing a perfect job in one go. Your clients pay for the highest quality of your service. Give them the highest quality output. There is a reason why we get hired by a Fortune 500 company to build educational virtual tool around the world, because we pay attention to detail and give the clients our best. I hope I can pass that same mentality and work ethic onto you. Strive for the best, not mediocrity. Raise the bar of the entire virtual tool industry together. Luckily, even in high quality mode, the Galois P4 only took 23 seconds to finish the single capture, still way under the M2 and every other solution out there. If you watch my Galois M2 review right here, you know that DSLR still beat the M2. So how does it compare to the P4, especially with the latest and most expensive fisheye lens, the Canon RF 7-14mm? From left to right, we have the Insta360 X5 HDR, the Galois P4, the DJI OSMO 260, and the Canon R5 Mark II with the RF 7-14mm fisheye. The X5 is full of chromatic aberration, really bad for virtual tool. Just do not use it. It drags down the quality of our entire industry. The DJI OSMO 260 and its 120 megapixel photo is not bad for virtual tool, but it suffers some color loss, as you can see right here. Comparing the Galois P4 to the Canon, the P4 is clear winner on detail with that impressive 8x lawless zoom. And even on chromatic aberration, where the new Canon fisheye is supposed to be great for that, the P4 still comes closest to the reality. So officially, the Galois P4 is the best 360 virtual tool camera out there. You can still shoot a gigapixel panel on a DSLR with a zoom lens and beat it on pure image quality, but then the post-production complexity just does not make sense for the amount of money you get paid this day. But again, this is an honest review, and there is a big design drawback in the Galois series. It is the missing top and bottom. We do not really care about the bottom since that is just tripod, but the top could be something incredible, like Michelangelo's creation of Adam in the Vatican City. And that is where the immersion breaks. The P4 captured 140 degrees of vertical coverage, 10 degrees more than the M2, but it is still not the full sphere you can get from a DSLR rig like here or the Insta360 rig. The Realsee platform uses AI to patch the hole. You can see it in the 360 panel you download through the add-on feature, but it is AI, not reality. And the raw image you download comes without the AI feel. So this is something you need to consider and something that other reviewers barely mention. So if you like me, chasing the absolute best quality virtual tool, the Galois P4 is like the RE Alexa or Sony Venice 2 of the virtual tool world. It's worth every penny if quality matters to you. Not only that, Realsee let you down the original raw DNG file right here under add-on raw file. It costs 15 credit, roughly 40 to 45 US dollar, pretty pricey. But you can grade that raw DNG to get a polished magazine quality look, close to what you would get from a high-end Canon or Sony mirrorless. You can use Photoshop AI to patch the top and bottom like so for a fully immersive 360 panel with the rich color depth of a true raw file. So for the very high-end client who want to host their tool on 2D Vista or KR panel, you can absolutely do it with this high-quality DNG raw file. I do not think the Galois P4 makes as much sense if you skip the Realsee platform for hosting entirely, but here is the thing. You can, if you want, you can use the Galois P4 as a very high-end 360 camera without Realsee hosting. It's not like Matterport, which tried to own your capture. And by the way, downloading the 24K JPEG panel is only 5 credits, roughly $10. It still has that same impressive high resolution clarity. And it is a ready to go 360 photo package. So if you need to post a panel to Facebook 360 for marketing or to Zillow 3D Home for extra listing, you can, and it will not break the bank. $10 is just like 2 cups of coffee in Los Angeles these days. And the marketing reach on Zillow and other MLS listing is worth it. And here is the kicker. Since October 2025, Zillow stopped embedding Matterport Tour after CoStar did not renew the API agreement. So there's really no reason to pay for that expensive Matterport anymore. Switching to Realsee will save you so much more money. A company that has no interest in owning your tour or your business. There are also some nice quality of life updates. The P4 now run on NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano, the same class of AI computer you find inside robot. That is why it can stitch a 300 megapixel panel, merge the multi-spectrum HDR, and process that point count right on the camera, almost instantly. You also get a high-quality carrying bag and a made-in-Italy Manfrotto MT190CX tripod with a quick-release design that speeds up the capture on site while keeping everything rock solid. And extra batteries for long capture days. Everything just feels premium and professional, not the cheap plastic of a consumer 360 camera. Yes, it is expensive, but it's well thought out and ready to go, with no extra accessory needed beside your phone. So here is my honest verdict. If you already own the Galois M2, I do not think you should run out there and spend another $7,000 US on the P4, unless you are like me, a perfectionist who always want to give clients the absolute best. But if you do not have the Galois yet, and you are looking for an all-in-one virtual tool platform that can generate floor plan and 3D dollhouse, PLY point cloud file that you can fit into a Gaussian splatting workflow for Apple Vision Pro, plus a 3D model and CAD file, then right now might be a good time to grab the used M2. People are about to selling their M2 at a big discount to upgrade to the P4 after watching this video. But I want to take a step back and expand your mind a little. This kind of technology is not just for commercial real estate, which is a brutal low-margin business these days. LiDAR Scanner and high-definition 360 camera are quietly become the tool for film industry as well. Here is what they unlock. Location scouting. Walk a real place before you ever fly there inside an XR headset like an Apple Vision Pro. Pre-visualization. Previs. Plan your camera move and lighting inside a 3D scan. Virtual set design. Build and adjust the set digitally for director to approve. VFX support. Scan the set before the camera starts to roll so the digital effect line up exactly with the real camera footage. Set extension. Turn one corner of a room into an entire palace digitally. And the big one, environment creation and virtual production. Put your scan world on a giant LED wall and your actor can perform inside it, lit by the image-based lighting without even leaving the stage. And that is the workflow. Scan a real location into point cloud, capture a high dynamic range image to light it, rebuild it in Unreal Engine, and shoot your scene inside it. Location scouting, set reconstruction, and lighting all collab into a one digital pipeline. Real-world capture, rebuild, and relit inside a 3D engine. And here's the part should get you thinking. All of this used to need a full technical crew and laser scanner gear that costs more than a car. Technology like the P4 now put the same high resolution capture in the backpack for several $1,000s. The gap between a solo creator and a Hollywood pipeline is closing fast. So stop thinking of this as just a virtual tool camera. Think of it as a key, a way into the same workflow the biggest Hollywood production are using. And this is the kind of future-focused VFX that really excite me. Not the generative AI slop trying to take over our industry. You can use the Galois P4 and other Realsee technology to capture the data that feed into photogrammetry, 2D reconstruction, and Gaussian splatting workflow. If that interests you, do not forget to subscribe and we will keep pushing the industry forward with bold, creative thinking together.